Why, hello there. It's me, Jeremy, your favorite bald dude telling you about Standard and Strange, a store and a brand with simple rules. Sell clothes they themselves would wear, manufacture it ethically, and build it to last. From boots made in Oregon to loop wheel garments made in Japan, find all the best clothes for your wardrobe at Standard and Strange. StandardandStrange.com. Hey folks, it's Jeremy. You're listening to Blamo. How we doing? All right, look at us. The first, I guess it's the first official pod of the new year. I don't know if you already heard, we did a new episode of Blamo Presents Derek Guy, which was kind of a bit of a recap from last year, but it was good. If you haven't heard it, dig into the feed. It's on the Patreon. But so glad to be back. A lot of stuff happening. I got to hang out with the fam. It was nice. I took an official, I'm going to turn the phone off. That's not true. I didn't really turn the phone off, but I did I'm not going to work, you know, I decided that I wasn't going to try to record. I wasn't going to try to do these things. I was going to be Mr. Family Man. Of course, everyone got sick. Then, life. It was great. Running around, trying to chase your kids. Everyone's getting ear infections, but I felt good. I hope everyone else got a little bit of time off, something where you can just reflect, you know, whatever it is. You can read some BS thing about a life hack and realize that you're never going to do it. I swear, if one more person tells me to focus on mindfulness, I'm gonna fall out of my chair. I'm trying. What do you think I'm doing? I'm getting free therapy by talking to thousands of people on a podcast. I digress. I've been rewarding myself because, you know, your boy hits the gym. And the other day, I hit the gym and, you know, depending on how I'm feeling, if I have a real serious workout, sometimes I'll pull into, you know, McDonald's. I'll pull into the Golden Arches on the way back. And it's funny because I posted it on Instagram and I was like, oh, you know, like workout, get McDonald's, whatever. And a bunch of people responded. And it's not, you know, I don't care about like responses, but like half of the people were like, you should really, you know, pay attention to, you know, the fat and the things that you put in your body. And I'm like, what on earth? Look, a lot of people are like, go off, King. But I'm like, get out of my DMs. Don't shame me for getting a freaking nugget meal over here. Get out of here. It's like, I swear to God, that McDonald's is so good. No free ads, but like if I had Wolfgang Puck in my car, you know that homie would have been chowing down on his McNuggets and sweet and sour sauce too. It's just good. It was great. I had a wonderful time. I enjoyed it. I ate it in my car like an imbecile. Ultimate Michelin's, you know, 3 Michelin star fine dining culinary experience. I loved it. And then, you know, and then I turned my car back on. I used my blinker. I'm always using my blinker. I'm listening to Chopin. It was great. So fun time. This week, though, big pod this week with Joachim Baan. The best way to describe him, he's an incredibly fascinating individual, but he's like the influencer's influencer. He's the creative director for Atelier Munro, which is a brand you've heard me talk about before. He's a partner in the legendary denim store Tenue de Nimes, based out of Amsterdam. I'm sure you heard about them eons ago when the official raw red selvage vibe was kicking in. He's the founder of Another Something, and he's also a designer. But look, the list, it goes on and on, from the digital experience to the physical experience of your favorite brands. Joachim's been there. It was, you know, he's an incredible, incredible guy. Joachim and I discussed building a brand, his design philosophy, why you shouldn't focus on the data, the collaboration effect with brands, Atelier Munro, and working for passion versus the paycheck. What a year. Let's go. You have like a very strong eye for environments and product, you know?
It's something that the more and more you go into, it's this kind of rabbit hole. the more and more you go into those details and realize that it all counts up. It all it's the touch of those curtains or the feel of the floor. If it all connects and it's all correct and in balance, people will feel more comfortable. And that's where I always get attracted to places that have this kind of balance in interior or in also in brands.
Right.
You know, when a brand is really on point, not so much on that it is hyped or something, but it's of course it's a boring example, but Aesop is so good on every level.
Yeah.
That it's completely in balance then.
Yeah. That they're the only company I know ever that made soap a status symbol.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It's so crazy.
But they did that on every level. The founder was
it's Australian, right?
It's Australian, yeah.
Yeah.
And the founder is I think he's still in the brand. But he was having comments on the printing paper that come out of the printer machines in the office. So on every level he was looking at the details and made sure that it all fits.
That's so.
It's a little bit the same as Apple, where the inside of the machines are also neatly designed. Nobody will see it, but it's so as soon as you start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that people will feel it somehow.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Well, let's jump to the beginning. Can you, for the record, pronounce your name for me so I make sure when I get it right?
Yeah, so in Dutch we say Joachim.
Okay.
But I won't ask you to pronounce it.
Yeah.
So here everybody say Joachim.
Okay, Joachim. And then it's just Baan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So let's kind of jump to the beginning. Like, where did you grow up? Because you're from Holland through and through, right?
From the Netherlands. Grew up in a small village called first Zeist, then Hilversum. They're all quite nearby Amsterdam. I went to school in Hilversum and later on high school in Amsterdam. Dropped out.
Nice.
I couldn't finish it. School wasn't my thing. And then I did. I wanted to go to art school, and I think you have these open days where you can look around the art school and think, okay, this could be something for me or not.
Mm-hmm.
The first one in Amsterdam, I came in and I thought, I can't fit here. This is so my great-grandfather was a famous, semi-famous Dutch artist in the Hague period of painting.
Oh, wow.
So classic painting. So I was raised quite on that creative side. I was on Waldorf school, which is already very, very creative. My mother was always drawing, painting. So in my head, from an early stage, I always thought I'd be an artist.
Yeah.
So and then on that open day, that kind of the day on art school in Amsterdam, it was kind of a disillusion for me. So, is this the art world? Is this what I should go to do? And so I said to myself, that's not what's going to happen. And there was another art school in Utrecht, which was a little bit more on the somewhat commercial side. So they also do music and more on the tech side. Graphic design, industrial design. But because I didn't finish my school, I wasn't...
couldn't go?
I couldn't go.
Yeah.
Only if I would do a test. And that test was English grammar. And my English is not that good. And by then it was quite bad. So I didn't pass.
Oh, no.
This was 2000. This was quite a way back. But it was the end of the .com bubble. And I knew already, so I wanted to be graphic designer. I wanted to start as so that idea of becoming an artist became more kind of, okay, I'm going to be an artist, but very
digital and the modern medium,
the modern version of an artist. Today we would say a content creator or something.
I would say it's a little elevated than your standard content creator, but sure.
But so that was the last wave of the .com bubble.
Yeah.
And since I knew I wanted to go that direction, I could start already at one of those .com companies companies in Amsterdam, which was extremely fast growing. They were just hiring people, and we're calling ourselves the what's it called again? Like the soldiers who are going sent out into battle.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it was just getting on meat, so to say.
Yeah, like the army or whatever. Yeah.
Growing, kind of artificial growing. It was just get people on board. But I was designing a website for one of the big energy companies in the Netherlands, and 2 months later we were redesigning that website, and it was for hundreds of thousands of euros every time. So there was too much money, and it was crazy. At some point we went with a private jet to our mother company, which was in Sweden,
right?
And which was a nice experience. But at that time I thought this can't be for long. This is. I was right, because I think a little over a year later that .com bubble bursted.
Yeah.
And was gone. So, but before that, I already had the feeling, okay, that digital design is super nice, but I want to learn also the craft, also the craft of graphic design. So I started at a very classic graphic design company where I had a really good mentor who was just learning me everything and from scratch, graphic design from scratch. And he also sent me into battle, like when we would design a poster or something, he would say, "Yeah, you think it's good? Okay, send it to the printer." And it came back from the printer completely wrong on every level. So I had to reprint it. But it was, for me, the last time I made a mistake like that. So next time I would make sure that everything was good.
Right.
So that was a little bit my school, which was a really good school for me.
Almost like a trade school in this sense.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. In that time, I also was running a kind of an online platform. By that time, you had News Today. I don't know if you remember. It was kind of a link dump of international kind of creative group of people. I had something similar. It was called Untitled Levels. It's way back, but it was we did even online magazine and crazy things by then, which was a PDF magazine. It wasn't interactive whatsoever.
Right.
But those things were were kind of the reason where the art school, the art university in Utrecht, called me up and said, "Can you please start teaching here at school?"
Wait, hold on.
Which was 1.5 years later.
So first you want to go to this school. They say, actually, you didn't pass. You didn't do it through the traditional route. So no, thank you. So you start doing your own thing. You're working at other spots, making stuff, and you make so much noise in the career that you're doing that the school that denied you come to ask you to teach.
And then I said, "Go fuck yourself," because that's. I couldn't do it by then. There was also because I wasn't sure that I could teach anything.
Yeah, teaching is very difficult in doing. Yeah. Or it's very different than doing.
Completely.
Yeah.
But there was a fun anecdote, and so I started continue to work at that graphic agency, and then at some point I had the feeling, okay, and now I know the basics, I know all the techniques, and I know how it works.
Yeah.
Now I want to start working at one of the top agencies in Amsterdam. So I did talks basically I think there were 10 or so where I wanted to work, and I had talks at 9 of them, and the last one never reacted. And at some point, I said, one would say, "You're too junior." The other one said, "We want you on a senior level." Where I said, "I don't want to be there yet because I need to learn still quite a lot." And that last one never came back. And at some point, I said to my girlfriend, we were still together. By that time, I said, "I'm going to do one more email." I dropped them one more email. If it's not working, I'm starting freelancing.
Yeah,
and that's also good. And then that same day, they replied. They called me back and said, "Can you start tomorrow?"
Wow,
which was the company Staat. It's state in Dutch. And I worked there for I think 2.5 years. And then did my own gig, and then a few years ago I worked again with them. But we're still very good friends. We worked together on a lot of brands, a lot of working for Cartier, Nike. We did the whole branding of Bugaboo, the strollers. Wow. All those really, really nice jobs. Learned there. Basically, I learned to think that kind of full circle 365 approach, a more holistic approach of branding and communication, where it's less about, it's not only graphic design, it's graphic design is nice, or photography is nice, or interior design is nice. But when all those dots are connecting, then it's kind of resonating and it's starting to work the way you want.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because there's some brands, it's like, oh, they have a great logo, but like the physical experience of it, or even the digital experience of it, isn't reflective of the emotions that you get from the logo or the product. I mean, the amount of companies that I know, especially in the US, where the product is great, but the digital experience and the logo is so bad. This is not an elitist thing. Like, it totally turns you off and makes you less receptive of like enjoying the product.
But I must say that the other way around, you see it more and more often. The branding is very on point, and you get the product and you think, what's this? For God's sake, why did I bought this? It's a nice brand, but that's it.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he works for this big creative agency in New York, and most of the money that they make is all from like brand new sort of like, startup. They got a bunch of money and they'll spend a lot of money on like the brand, the design, all of these things. So they'll do branding guides for them, and then they go and they make their product, and they're like, yeah, we're just going to sell it on Amazon. And he's like, oh no. Yeah. And so like every time I'll talk to him, I'll be like, oh, have you heard of this brand? He's like, yeah, we did the design for that. And I'm like, the design's amazing. He's like, yeah, just don't buy the product. And I feel bad because like he's kind of caught in this hamster wheel, and it sounds like you had a bit of the luxury too, to like you were saying, you get to do every aspect of it. And so you really get to champion your own work versus kind of look at it as like a task per se.
Yeah. And then, but then, so I think on that branding side, I was able to learn that full circle to learn all those different parts of it. Let's first go back one step. So
sure.
After those first 2-3 years at Staat, I started my own. I started as a freelancer, kind of my own company.
Oh wow!
Called Another Company.
Yeah,
Another Something was in that same time. It's 2007 or something. And 2008 we started Tenue de Nimes, the denim store in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And that was basically my first experience in, so we can do the branding, we can do a nice interior, we can do all those things nice, but the connection with the consumer is something different. It's something completely different.
Right.
So those first first years at Tenue de Nimes, I had my own small studio, but I was often just working at the back of the store and seeing how Menno and René, the two owners, were running around and helping clients, and how the things that we thought about and designed were actually working, and if they were actually working.
Well, because Tenue de Nimes, because I remember that was when I first kind of like heard about you. I know, like, I think Michael Williams had written about you on a Continuous Lean, and it was the early sort of rise of like, selvage denim and this, heritage, I'm air quoting that word. And you guys were like very much fully formed when you emerged, whether you believe it or not, at least from my initial experience, I was like, oh my gosh. And so for folks that don't know, this was a retail store and also private label.
No, so we started as a retail store only. Right. We had our private label. It wasn't that serious.
Sure.
By then,
but it existed.
It existed. It existed somehow. So we had a really nice curation of brands from the beginning already. And what we did from the start is at some point before we opened, we said we need to have some kind of a press release.
Okay.
But because I had Another Something already, the blog, I got a lot of press releases, and basically every press release I get is delete. So I thought, we need to do something different. Because we need to get the attention of people, and also tell more than, oh yeah, we opened a store, because everybody can open a store and everybody can do that, but we need to show a little bit of our world. So we started Journal de Nimes, a magazine, and basically the first issue, the 0 issue of that journal was a PDF magazine. So digital only, where we explored some of the brands we were selling, some of the mills. I think one of the denim mills was featured in that one as well. A little bit of the story, a little bit of the story behind it, and people reacted so good on that we said, oh, we're going to put that in print, and we're going to make it into a real magazine. Acne magazine was kind of the start of that inspiration.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was A3 size, so a big size newspaper kind of a magazine where we explored interesting people and different cities around the world where we traveled, which was great fun to do. But that also added to that whole idea of people outside of Amsterdam, basically outside of the Netherlands, that Tenue de Nimes was already this big brand going out there. That big that at some point the magazine was sold at J. Crew in New York and in Tokyo and all over the world.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Which was kind of so. We were still with the three of us running that store in Amsterdam. Where now we have a magazine. We're not making any money with it. What are we doing? Which was it was amazing to do that. It was amazing to do that. But at some point we also said we can't keep this up. That was also because we opened our first store in 2008. Second store, I forgot what year that was. I think it must be 2012 or
that
13.
Sounds about right.
Also in Amsterdam. And then we said, well, let's stop with the magazine or do only once a year or something.
Yeah. I mean, because a magazine, you're talking about it as you guys did it pretty quick, but it sounds like you're only able to do it at the speed because of how talented you guys were. I mean, a magazine is a juggernaut. Like it's so difficult to do.
It is. So way back, I started also photographing a lot because I wanted content for my graphic design to learn how to work on that. So I had early 2000s, I already had a digital camera, and then my brother turned into a real photographer. So at some point I said, okay, I'm not continuing that career path because I could never compete with him. He is one of the top interior architecture photographers around the world.
Wow.
Not interior architecture in general.
Right. Wow, amazing. So you open your second store for Tenue de Nimes, and when did the Converse thing come along? Because I feel like that was pretty quick after that. No.
So we did collaborations with Converse, dipping the Converse in natural indigo.
Yeah. Okay.
And the fun part of doing those collaborations. By the time everybody did collaborations, we especially those early days of Tenue de Nimes, we only did collaborations with super small quantities. At some, I think there were always only 28 products. Of everything. So we would have 28 pairs of Converse, 28. We did with Nigel Caborn. We did with so many different
Caborn,
different brands and like all those niche, beautiful. We visited them all, and also Caborn. So for the magazine, of course, I traveled to him to his place in England. Photographs. I did all that photography also for the magazine by then.
Oh, I didn't know you did that too.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Slow down.
So there was, but by then, I still love to do it. I still love to do that.
Sure,
but it's something different to do that really on a commercial basis. Where it was all fun. It never felt like work. Doing that magazine.
Why do you think that it was? Because it was work, but what made it fun?
I think from the beginning of work, especially working for myself in those 2007, 2008 years, I said I would never want to work for the money anymore. I want to. I mean, we need it somehow.
Yeah.
But as soon as I start working for money, there is this kind of thing going on in everybody's heads that is becoming less fun and less kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. Like a paying job always feels different in terms of like your delivery and the weight of how you feel about other opinions or critiques versus. There's a bit of an immunity that you can feel when you're doing something for fun, because if someone doesn't like it, it's like, well,
then just not do it. Yeah. So from the beginning, when I started my own company, my own gig, I said that's the basis. That's the base rule for everything. So once a client would come, I always said I don't mind the money. So in the end, I do mind, but let's first have a conversation, and I'm only trusting my gut feeling on if this is going to be fun or not. And if it's not fun, I don't mind the money. I don't mind that I can earn 50K for it or whatever. We're not doing it because it will be a pain in my ass, and I don't want to have a pain in my ass for the things that I love to do, like photography, like designing, like creating interiors, creating spaces like these. It should all be fun.
Yeah, and I think like that speaks to like how you select, obviously how you select your clients, and when because I feel like other companies, you're just each client you hopefully leads to the next client, but there's burnout that's going to happen. The quality of work suffers. hours? Because obviously everyone, it is a business. You do have to make money.
You do have to
but
make money.
like, trying to find that right person and someone who's going to be as invested in your vision, they're going to be more trusting with you than, I mean, I worked at a creative agency and there were clients that we had that it was like, well, what do you need us for? Because clearly you know exactly what you want to do.
Right.
So like, are we just a machine to like help you buy ads on Facebook? Like that's
and in a
boring.
in a bigger agency format, you need those clients
sure
just to keep on running.
Yeah, because you have too much staff and you're I mean that's it is a grind. I mean I get it how some of these agencies turn into making work or doing stuff that like the creative director, like we were just talking about, is like but the product's not good. And you're like that's a big integrity blow. I mean I get it. Like, you know, I'm not trying to belittle people, but like that's, you can see how that evolves into something that spirals out of control.
No, so I even did photography for Shell at some point, commercial photography.
Shell, like oil,
like the oil.
Oh,
and at that point, I said to
man's a big
myself,
oil.
I can't do this anymore. I need to select really rigid. These brands I can work for, these companies I can work for. The other I don't want to work for.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but that's a great privilege too, to be able to choose your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I realized that. So that's also those years as running my own company. It was this kind of always feeling the balance between, oh shit, I need new clients.
Yeah.
While having the trust, oh well, they will come. They will, and they would always come. There would always be someone ringing the phone and say, hey, I have this and this brand's coming up.
Okay, so I want to dissect that a little bit. You said that they always come.
Yeah.
How do you know? I mean, it sounds like you have proof based on history, but just that emotion. I mean, that's literally what I wrestle with every day. Like we were talking the other day, and like, you know, I'll look at, okay, I'm good for the next 3 months or 5 months. But then I'll spend those next 3 or 5 months in constant panic, anxiety, fear.
Right.
I'm very grateful. I have found something that I'm able to do that keeps our family going, or, you know, my kids and all this stuff. But I'm just curious, how are you not in a state of panic?
I think it's a balance between that state of panic and the trust, kind of gut feeling, trust that it will be okay.
Yeah.
And it comes over time. So it took quite a while to get to that point.
Sure.
But that state of panic I still have that.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I feel a little bit
and it's also that's. So I have a full-time job now, and I still have that panic. Oh yeah, is it really on point? What I'm doing now, is it really on point? Is it really what what it should be, or should it be better? Or should I move more into that part of
right?
I think it's also a part of our creative brain that it keeps on spinning.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. I mean, but it sounds like too the other thing, and maybe you didn't say it, but I'll say it. There's a bit of confidence in your work, which is great because you're confident that the work that you make is good, and that people want good work, and so they'll find you.
There is a bit of confidence, although I find it always very tricky to really say that, especially now on
I'm
the
not
record.
saying arrogance.
No, because it's far from arrogance. It is. That is. I always feel very kind of. I can only do what I'm doing now. It's
sure.
And the thing I'm doing is I'm trying to make this world a little bit a more beautiful space. And I think that's the only thing I really can do. And I am becoming better at it.
Mm-hmm,
and by every step I'm becoming better, I see all the things that I'm really bad at, and I still need to learn. So it's always this kind of, it is really that balance of a constant panic versus, maybe I'm doing a few things good.
Yeah.
Do you even loop wheel, bro? Do you know what loop wheel garments are? I actually didn't, honestly. I was just like, oh, it's a flex. It's a special kind of cotton. Yeah, kind of. But the folks at Standard and Strange dropped a ton of knowledge bombs and their own incredible loop wheel tee. Made in Japan, of course. But back to loop wheel. It's an antique circular knitting machine that relies on gravity and uses spring bearded needles. Do you get it? Bearded needles? What the heck? Look, all you need to know is it's dope. It's better, and if you want to learn more, visit standardandstrange.com/loopwheel and check out their new loop wheel tees. Trust me. Your boy is partial to yellow because, duh, but the tees are fire no matter what color you pick. The fit is spot on, and it's a classic tee that looks like it's from every era ever and fits like a dream. And it's from the folks from Standard & Strange, the shop that helps you own fewer, Better Things, run by industry vets who are focused on incredible product from incredible vendors. And look, if that's not your vibe, check out some of their huge offerings of other Japanese denim or boots. But listen, the shirts, fam, the shirts, the loop wheel. So visit standardandstrange.com/loop wheel to learn more. Standard and Strange. Own fewer, better things at standardandstrange.com.
So you were at Tenue de Nimes for a while, and then what came after that?
So at some point, I was partner. I was partner at Tenue de Nimes. I still was running my own company, working for different clients. I had a startup kind of thing called Our Current Obsessions, where we wanted to work with super small brands, makers, basically, and bringing. We were talking with Kaweco, the pens.
Yeah.
We were talking with a beautiful suitcase company. We'll come back to that later. Suitcase company. A lot of different brands, and then the idea was to do kind of editions, to bring in one edition different products from different makers, and then small quantities, kind of collaboration plus. We did one issue which was super nice, also with artworks around, and at some point, so I had an investor, and at some point we had to order a lot of those products. And the night before, I kind of melted, and I thought, I can't do this, and that's, I think, one of the biggest learning moments was for me, that you can make a beautiful brand, you can make a beautiful product, you can make magazines around it, you can put a world around it, you can put a really nice interior together. But once you've started creating products, you need to sell them as well, and that is.
Yep.
So the thing that we think as creatives is the most important, biggest part of the whole world is only 10% or so. Because getting those products to the consumer is a different game. And that night I realized it's not my game. I can't do this. So we pulled the plug. We didn't order all those products. We quit that project, Our Current Obsessions. And I also realized at that moment I need to choose, because I'm doing all these different things. And by that time I also had my third child. And my wife she's having a career as well. So at some point we said, this isn't working. I can't keep up with this. So I pulled out of Tenue de Nimes, stopped my own company, and went back to Staat, the design ad agency, communication agency. We never said it was one of each.
Sure.
Also because we were in a pitch. So at some points we were in a pitch against each other, and we basically said, why are we pitching against each other? Why are we just working together? And we did a fantastic job together on T4T, the American luxury tea.
Oh yeah.
The pyramids. We did the whole rebranding of that.
Oh wow.
And by then we said, well, it's basically so good to work together again. Let's continue on that side. So ended those chapters with Tenue de Nimes. Somewhat there's still a little door open there, but also quit my own company, hand over a few of my clients to the Staat, to that agency, and worked there for another 3 years, which was also very nice, very good. We did amazing projects there, designed beautiful windows for Cartier in Amsterdam. But we also did a few of those jobs where we basically designed full brands, every part of it, including thinking about product. And then as soon as we handed it over to the client, it would land in the fridge. And so we had a few of those brands completely designed and everything.
Yeah,
that weren't live. They were just also not going live.
Right.
And I started to realize more and more what we did with Tenue de Nimes was just very good, and that I really liked that as well, to be able to work that holistic idea of brand building in basically in everything, in product, in interior, in design. And I realized that I wanted to move more into that direction. So at some point move away from the agency side into the brand side.
Right. Yeah, because you're making stuff, but the stuff that you're making, there's no guarantee of whether or not it actually is made.
No. No, yeah, exactly. And you're putting so much energy in it, and that's what I think struck me most. That's also why I almost never wanted to join pitches during those agency days, because you're putting so much energy in something, and it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's just burned energy, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, who would?
That's also when I had my own gig and clients would come over to me and said, "Yeah, can you please just make 3 proposals?" I always said, "No, I'm making one proposal. We start with really good conversations. Then I'm making one proposal, which I think is the only logical consequence of all the things we've been through. And if it's not right, I haven't listened." And so that was also the kind of the first test of that client. If they didn't want that, then for me it was a no-go, and said, "Okay, let's not work together." And it always worked out, because once you have all those elements in place, and once you know what you want to do with a brand and with what you want to communicate, the brand itself, the branding, the graphical part, the output is a logical consequence of all those things you've been talking about, and you've been writing about. So it's that also makes my work. I'm not I don't create new things. It's just putting all the things in the right place and putting it together.
I would push back on creating new things. I mean, sure, you're not maybe inventing something that's never existed, but putting things together the right way and using design elements to tell a story, that's new. I mean, that to me qualifies.
It's a new combination.
Okay, yeah.
It's a new combination.
Yeah, new experience.
Yeah, sure. And I think we have a great lack of new combinations, new experiences, because everything is becoming more and more the same. So that's also
True.
That's also what gives me a lot of energy to do all these things.
Yeah. Do you remember, it was maybe like a few years ago, and it was like every American startup used the same pink?
But now every startup looks the same still, right?
There's some truth to it. Or when you think of fashion brands now, like, do you remember, I think it was like Yves Saint Laurent turned into Saint Laurent. Then Balenciaga changed their logo. Then Balmain changed their logo. Burberry changed their logo. And I think
it's all the same now.
Yeah, the typeface, the kerning, and all that stuff is very similar. And and I think a lot of like purists, I don't even know if that's the right word, were just like flabbergasted because Yves Saint Laurent had not changed stuff in ever.
Right? That old Yves Saint Laurent logo, just
YSL. Yeah,
YSL. That was so iconic and so beautifully made. The type was. I guess I can still get emotional to see that. I'm buying vintage ties now with that logo on because it's so nice. It's so beautiful. So you see that basically in every field. So more and more, it's the decisions made on that what used to be the creative level are made on a data level, and big brands are seeing, this works according to our data and according to our sales data and according to big data, everything. So everything is becoming the same.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because it's the analytical decision versus the, I don't know, intuitive or emotional.
I think it's more an emotional, intuitive decision, and that's also what I've been trying to do with all those clients back in the days at Staat, my own agency with Tenue de Nimes, but also now is let's not focus too much on that data. And the data in general is super interesting, but we need to translate that into something new, and that something new is then this new combination. So it's not. I'm not I became somehow maybe an artist, but it's a completely different artist because I'm not creating new things. I'm maybe creating that new combination, or I would love to do that.
But that is what an artist, in my opinion, has evolved to in the 21st century. I mean, it sounds like you're comparing your idea of an artist based on like your great grandfather.
Yeah.
So like just because you're not painting or you're not Vermeer, like doesn't mean that what you are as an artist, you're still an artist. It's just maybe you have to alter your definition of what it is.
Totally.
Yeah.
And even contemporary artists these days are and you see it in every field. So contemporary artists these days are also looking at the data and what's working commercially well. And let's not even start about NFTs.
Yeah, that's right.
That's something I'm
the words we don't name on this podcast.
No, right? I'm really trying. So I'm doing this small side project with a group of people, and I was wearing it yesterday. The little pin we had with "Patience is power, is patience is power, is patience power" around it engraved, and we were joking. That thing is the NDT of our little network, the non-digital token.
Yeah.
So everybody who has it knows. Oh yeah, that's our thing. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's, especially culturally with newer, younger folks, there's starting to see an aversion of digital environments.
Yeah.
And it's funny because on one side, you look at companies like Meta that are like the metaverse and we're all going to get into this and we're all just going to live our digital lives. And like that exists in some ways. But when you look at the next generation, like younger kids, like they think Instagram is boring.
Yeah.
They, TikTok is like its own thing, but it's not where they live. And now there's this new desire of physical media even, which I think is happening even for myself, where I'm like, why am I paying $15 a month to Spotify to listen to the same 3 albums? Like, I'm just going to buy them and I don't want to be relying on an internet connection, and I want physical objects. I want physical experiences, because the digital stuff, especially now, like I don't even know how much you can trust, and it's not reliable. And it's what if it changes and they updated it? Now it's not,
I think it's a little bit the same cycle as we had in those 2000 years.
Yeah.
Where in the .com bubble, everybody thought, okay, we need a website and we need it now. And we need a new website. And 2 weeks later, we need another new website. The idea of the market, there's so much attention to it. So we have to jump on that bandwagon as well. Then people started to realize, it's nice, but maybe we don't need it that much. And we still need it. It's a super important part, but it's I think the tangible part is becoming more and more also needed.
I mean, that brings us to us sitting in this room, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because with Munro, which you're the creative director of, with Atelier Munro, like it's you guys have a very great site and it's cool, and there's lots of data and you can access orders and all sorts of stuff like that, which I think is great. But like the amount of care and effort you're putting into the physical space, I mean,
it's the most important part.
You said it. Like there you go. I mean, I agree, because you walk in and because a lot of people, and this is no shots to you all, can make a good site.
Yeah.
But to make, a store, especially in clothing and menswear, the number one thing that people say whenever they meet Ralph Lauren and he gives them advice on like their brand is he's like, you need a store. You need a physical store. James Jebbia of Supreme tells people you need a store. Yeah. You need to find a way to make a physical interpretation of your brand and 100%. The experience of it.
100%.
Yeah. But it's hard to make a store.
It is. Yeah, so let's circle back a little bit to when I still was at Staat 4 years ago. 5 years ago actually. An old intern from Tenue de Nimes was working at Atelier Munro.
Okay.
By then, and he basically said, he called me at some point. He said, "Yeah, Joachim, you need to work here or work with us on the branding, because it's not going anywhere near we want to have it." So we started working with Staat, with the agency for Atelier Munro. I did the whole logo, the whole brand fundament, got a peek under the hood, and what I saw then was there is so much potential for this brand. I was by then already I was thrilled about it. If we can do this in the way we are envisioning this brand now, it's going to be amazing. But I was still at the agency, and an agency brand relation, especially for Atelier Munro, which was still a very small brand, which is still a very small brand. Having an agency like that didn't work really well, but we stayed in contact, and at some point 2019 I thought, okay, I need to I think it was 9. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well the last 3 years have been 10 years. It's it's
exactly.
A big boy.
It must be 19. And before that I had a little dip in health shit as well, so I was kind of in between the two dips. I thought now I want to make that switch from agency to a brand, so I had a lot of talks with different brands at Adidas, at WeTransfer, different places.
Yeah.
Not so much interviews with those companies, but they were all in my network. So I thought, I want to make sure that my next step will be one that is for 5 to 10 years.
Right.
So
you're
really
not looking for a
long-term
job. You're looking for a career.
Yeah. So one of the conversations was with Sander, the owner of Atelier Munro, and we had coffee. And he basically said, "Yeah, say what you want. You can come do it at us, and we're here." So we continued those conversations, and at some point I said, "This is such a good opportunity where I can really put in every part that I've learned over the past 20 years and learn 20 years more." Because that first 20 years was basically the front, the creating a nice brand, creating a nice interior, a nice experience, etc. But now start learning to work with all those people in a brand. As an agency, you make a nice presentation and make a nice branding thing.
See you later.
You just hand it over on a WeTransfer link, and you say see you later, and that's it. But then the work starts, and that's what I really wanted to learn, and that's what I'm doing now. Basically, it doesn't feel like 24/7. It is maybe close to 24/7. Getting all those people within the brand, within the company, aligned, and showing them all the stories we want to create, and make sure that the people in the ateliers, the people in the design, clothing design part, in the product design, in the fabrics, that everybody is in line with that idea of, this is that North Star of Atelier Munro, and that's where we're going to. And we're not there yet, and next year we're also not there yet. But as long as I see for myself, we're heading there. I'm extremely happy that we can do this. And so that was sorry, meandering a little bit into different. So I started at Atelier Munro mid COVID. It was October 2020. Started at Atelier Munro. Nobody was in office. We were supposed to work remote. Those first months I've met, I think, 5 or 6 core team members of the brand.
Sure.
In office, on a little bit
Zoom.
on a distance, and the rest of the team only on Zoom. But starting to work on the brand, starting to work on the kind of the brand fundament with the vision, exploring the vision even further and further. Where at some point we said, we're not a fashion brand. We're not new collections every season.
Right.
What we do is, so we have basically a few blueprints. You have a blueprint of a jacket. You have a blueprint of knitwear, of trousers, outerwear, and with that blueprint you select a fabric, and then you start completely changing all the things you want. So we're not, at some point, we also realize we're not a brand that has a certain style or a certain aesthetic or following a certain trend where a consumer can say, "Oh, I like that, I want to buy into that,"
right?
And that's it. But we were turning it around and said, basically, our clients can build their own style, explore their own style within everything we do at Atelier Munro. So it's not that we enforce a specific style or a specific aesthetic on our clients, but they come to us and say, "Oh yeah, this is my attire, this is how I dress. Can I do this?"
You're enhancing some's aesthetic versus rewriting it.
And with that, we're also creating a way more durable wardrobe for them. Because once you're having this personal style, you don't change it every season or every year or not even 2 years.
Touche. Yeah, I agree with that. Versus like some spots you'll go in and you might have a very different style, but you can't really get one thing. There are a lot of brands that are so unique, right? That you'll go in and you'll get a piece from them and you're like, this works great, but I kind of have to get everything else that they make, and then you leave with it and you're like, well, this isn't what I wear, what I like. And you'll spend all this money and then you'll do like what I've done with brands, and you wear it a couple times and people are like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like it's still not you, so you never wear it. It sits in a pile.
I was not even wearing a big part of it.
Yeah.
So when I was visiting Japan or New York or whatever, I would always buy things and then it would sit in my wardrobe and oh shit, it's not me. And that's emotion of buying it at that store, at that place.
Yeah, it sounds like you had some good salesmen.
That was, those were partly good salesmen, but it's also the emotion of, yes, I want to buy something new now, or I want to, this whole experience is so amazing. I want to get something from this store or from this brand, where especially in Japan, I have kind of monkey arms. So I would never fit anything that was made there. So there was also a realization before I started at Atelier Munro that I would go into Fred Perry and buy a polo, and once it was good that season and that color and it fitted well, I would buy a stack of it, like 10, because next season it will be a different color, a different shade, even different quality fabric, different fits even. A medium would never be the same medium as it was last season.
Yeah.
So I was always frustrated with that. Also with jeans, always with basically with my whole wardrobe. If I found something good, I would buy a stack of it. At some point, I'm doing a lot of running and cycling. At some point, I had really good running shoes from New Balance, kind of very fast, thin kind of shoes. And I think I bought 6 or 7 pairs of them, wrapped them in plastic so that they won't age as fast as they normally do.
Yeah.
Because I knew with the running, it was I did now a little bit injured, but I did a lot of really long distance running, and then it's so.
Well, there's no consistency with a lot of these brands, and this because they're always kind of, I'm air quoting now, like evolving and improving what they have.
Yeah.
Versus some companies where it's like its existence is perfection, and I mean that in the sense it's like a sport coat. Okay, maybe you want to alter a fit or a detail or a pocket, but like the silhouette in general, we can all agree on it's perfect. It's classic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it will stay like that for the coming.
I don't think there's a single running shoe. Even then, like I saw, you mentioned New Balance, like now they're doing another, it's like now they're redoing like the 990 or the, every year. And it's like, oh, this is the version 5. This is and I saw like the newest one, the version 6. And it's not my taste. I'll just say that. Like I was like, oh, okay. I applaud them. I'm sure it might be better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But.
And I get attracted to it as well. But especially with running, I realized that it needs to be the same, because if I need to change shoes, it's a process of months again to get used to it. And if I would do a 30-kilometer long run,
holy shit,
I couldn't do that on new shoes. And to get used to new shoes, that would
you
take
said
time.
Long distance. I was like, oh, maybe he's doing like
2019 I did a crazy thing. No, 2020 was 2020. In 2019 I did a crazy run, running 60 kilometers on the beach in the Netherlands.
What?
In one take.
Why?
And that was to raise money for the art.
Well, now I'm the jerk. All right.
Thing. And I had something on my heart that was the health dip I had before.
Oh God. Okay.
So that I thought, okay, in return I was helped so good. In return, I need to raise money for.
Well, congratulations.
That part.
Wow, that's.
But then 2020, I did this thing that I ran a marathon every month, a full marathon. So I would build up during the month from 10 to 20 to at the end of the month.
Are your knees okay?
Like they're still okay. But I didn't succeed completely because COVID came in, of course.
Yeah.
And then people got scared.
Sure.
You shouldn't sport that much because if you have COVID, it could be really, really bad.
Yeah, so. I remember that. I remember going outside and running in a mask. And this is in, the earlier parts of 2020. Yeah. And I'm like in Brooklyn running along the water wearing a mask. And I mean, it was super hard because I couldn't breathe as well. And you're exerting yourself. And then I would take it off. And then, people would come by and be like, you can't run without a mask or something. And I get it. I'm glad. I'm grateful. We all, whatever. But I was like, I just can't breathe. Give me a second. I'm trying to. I was like, I'll put it back on.
So now, thankfully, in the Netherlands, we were allowed to go outside without a mask. So I could keep running, and I think I did only 2 months of a half marathon, and the rest was full marathon.
Okay. Sounds like you weren't that inconvenienced then.
No, it was. I still feel shitty that I couldn't do the full thing every month, but that's another story.
Wow.
So that's coming back to that constant change of products, and which isn't made for consumer. That change is not for the consumer. It's only for commercial.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also for sales.
Sales that people. Oh yeah, I need this new thing. I need this.
Yeah.
Oh, this new shoe that's not even better.
It's better.
We don't need it. We don't need it. And that's what we're trying to do with Atelier Munro, is say, okay, we have a very big collection of over 1,000 fabrics that are always on stock, that you can create anything. I'm wearing this utility jacket.
Yeah, it's very
with just 5 pockets made in the same fabric. If I tear it down now, I can reorder it, and I have exactly the same fabric, exactly the same fit in 3 to 4 weeks. And so there's no need to buy a stack of one product anymore.
Yeah, you don't. Okay, this is a perfect jacket. I need to get 6. It's like, get one, you're fine.
Exactly.
And if you need another one, it'll be here.
It will be there, and it will be in my fit with my long arms. And everything will be good. So that kind of promise also that was already when we were working for Atelier Munro back in 2016, 2017 from the agency, was also a realization for me that there is this promise of a brand who can offer this and who's going against trend cycles, fashion cycles, etc. So in a more I said it in a more and there is I find this always a really tricky thing to say. We normally say in a more sustainable way, but fashion in itself, clothing in itself, will never be sustainable.
Yeah, bravo.
So it's
okay to admit that.
Internally, I always say it's a less toxic way.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we should talk about it, because we're not more sustainable. We're a little bit less toxic, and we're trying to be a little bit less toxic every day. But it's less toxic it's more, I will say, more sustainable because it's a little bit more positive, which I like because of that. So it's more sustainable on multiple ways. We have this, what I said, over 1,000 fabrics that are always on stock, no matter the season, no matter the year. And then we have a small, limited curation of seasonal fabrics that will run out. So we have limited stock of that, and we can create X amount of jackets out of it, and then it's gone. But because of this, also because of this personal style, this idea of personal style with the client, it's also more sustainable. People will buy less but better. It's all made extremely well. So a big part of the collection is made in India at our own ateliers, and a big part is made in Italy in our own ateliers. So all the denim is made in Italy, all the knitwear is made in Italy, all the shoes are made in Italy. Suits and shirts start in India, and when you want more handwork, more handmade stuff, it will come from Italy. But I must say, quality-wise, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And I think as people are evolving and we're getting more globalized, it now, for me, like the luxury is the quality control.
Yeah.
Like to where it's like, I don't care if it's made anywhere, as long as obviously like labor practices are good. Yeah. And then the quality is the same. Like if I get this jacket and I get it another time, I know it's still the same, like quality tolerance. Because I think that's the thing where people were like, oh, Italy's the best, or England or France or China or wherever it is, and it's like, well, is the factory that and I think that's
depends so much. It depends basically on the people.
Yeah, exactly.
And as soon as those people are at the right place and have the right craft and the right mindset to, okay, we want to do this in the best possible way, you can create anything at any place.
Yeah. I mean, when the people that are making, because for a long time when people, let's talk like Hermes and the Birkin bag, and it's like, well, the only people that can ever make this are these, excellent French craftsmen and Well, over time, more people want to do apprentice there. And now it's not some, because in some cases it turns like a racist thing, and where it's like, well, I want it to be a French person in France doing this. And it's like, no, you need to just trust the brand and trust that the crafts that they're doing are, are fair and equitable, and your product is good, and like stop caring so much.
Exactly. And there are of course there are examples of craftsmen that are only in France or only in Italy or only even in India. Way back we did a project with Dupe by Jackie, where she told us she did all the embroidery for Reika of Kubo, and it was all done in her atelier in India, where the detail and the quality of that embroidery was so out of this world.
Yeah,
in everything.
Amazing. Yeah,
it's so we did an art project when that was Staat Days. We did an art project where she basically created artworks with that embroidery.
Yeah,
fantastic quality. So you still have at every place. I did a project started. That was also one of those. There are so many side projects always.
Yeah, I was going to say, geez, slow down.
There was
running around making 50 different companies.
God, I did. So it's also part of that, seeing something interesting, going down in that rabbit hole and think, my God, this is so interesting. I want to learn more of this.
Yeah.
So one of those projects was, I'm now wearing lenses, normally wearing glasses. And I got in contact with this shop in The Hague in the Netherlands, Azami, where the owner did beautiful, he carries the most beautiful glass brands, eyewear brands. And he also had contacts with makers. And he showed me around in his world, showed me natural buffalo horn glasses. And I was completely sold. So I started wearing buffalo horn glasses. And at some point I said to him, can we do something like that ourselves, but full circle, doing branding, etc., etc. So we started what was called Motanai, heavy. I have them here. Heavy sunglasses.
Yeah, I still have an extremely soft spot for eyewear because one, I have to wear glasses at all times. But those are cool.
So
Okay,
there is as always there are a lot of stories kind of woven into this product. Where
wow.
I've been always collecting a lot of things. I've been collecting vintage bank bags for ages. I've boxes and boxes full of bank bags.
Okay,
which is crazy. Another collection was vintage pictures, original photographs of people holding human skulls. Which is still one of my craziest collections, and I found at one of my trips in America, in a vintage store, I found this old picture of a lady sitting on the beach
holding a human skull.
Wow! And there were a few things written at the back of it, which I did some research on. Which was the photograph was made in a small island in the Black Sea, which was a camp, a Russian camp. So it's a very obscure story in everything, and I was kind of so hyped by that. It's hyped is a strange word for it, but kind of it's
you're curious,
sick story and curious.
Yeah,
I thought I want to see more of these images, so I started buying them on eBay, and I now have I think 60.
Wow,
somewhat 60 original photographs of people holding skulls.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like the overall theme of Joachim is the fascination and curiosity with mankind, right? I mean, the stuff that we especially when you look at like traditions that different cultures and different types of people have, created and love. And, like you should go to like New Orleans and go to Carnival,
right,
or something like that. Like there's things like, I think to many people, they'd be like, that is bizarre. Are you telling me they're in the street doing what? Like, that's crazy. That's so, and it's totally normal and part of their culture, that's great. And it's something to celebrate. And to, in a way, the more aware we are of other cultures and other things of how we do, like the more we can be accepting of like how we shift in our own.
That's it. Yeah. And that kind of constant curiosity. So that collection of people holding skulls turned out into this sunglass brand. It's not a sunglass brand. It was just a product. We made a series of 12 sunglasses.
Wow.
All buffalo horn, handmade in Germany, in a super small village this Azami, this gentleman, said to me, we're going to the biggest buffalo horn atelier in the world.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that will be big, because I was already used to
it's like the size
denim
of this
factories, etc. It was a little bit bigger than this room, but I think there were working 23 people or something.
Okay.
And then we learned, so the skull collection wasn't there from the beginning, but I've learned that this whole process of making sunglasses like this is so weird. It's so, you have these buffalo horn pieces coming in, they're sending it down to 1 millimeter or something, or less than, I think half millimeter.
Yeah.
They're making multiple layers out of it, and then they're cutting out the whole shape. So basically 95% of the material is waste. And with that 5% of the material, you get the most amazing sunglasses, most amazing frames ever, which are also unbreakable in a way. But there was this kind of connection of the eyes of the skull. So it's a sunglass with quite big, completely round glasses. We connected it somewhat to that story, and there's also in the back you see in Memento in Ictu Oculi what is it means in this moment, in a blink of an eye. So it's all this kind of we're only here for this short period, and let's celebrate it with crazy glasses of 1,500 euros. They were. It's also a kind of sinister, strange way of turning those collections and those ideas into products. And but in everything, telling these stories and sharing these stories and showing people what kind of amazing things are being made everywhere.
Do you like limit how many projects you do a year, or is it just kind of like something happens and you just jump on it versus like, I have a quota of X amount a year?
Actually, when I started Atelier Munro, I said I'm stopping basically all those side projects to fully focus on this, because this is basically the biggest side project I did. And within Atelier Munro, I can do all these side projects.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing now, is working together with Simos Biri, the sommelier, bringing in a beautiful curation of special wines, collaborate with those winemakers.
Yeah.
What we did here as well with the winemaker in Niagara Falls region, bring this orange wine. So partly doing that, we're doing a collaboration with PAL Sporting Goods coming up during the World Cup soccer, which will be more ready to wear.
Oh, actually, I saw that. That's very different than what
completely different than our aesthetic now, but it's also to show people, this is also what you can make.
Yeah, PAL Sporting Goods is incredible, really cool stuff.
And he's such a kind person. They're from Amsterdam as well, and there's this Iranian link, so he's coming from Iran, and the first play the national team of Iran did was against the Netherlands in '78.
Oh wow!
So that was their first presence on the World Cup in general. So we thought, okay, that's that link that he's coming from Iran, the link with the Netherlands. We should kind of celebrate it in a way. So we made the ultimate trainer's suit.
Oh, okay.
So it's a beautiful deep blue suit with a special patch on it, and he made a nice polo with it, and it's coming together really nice. So that's also one of those side projects. Then we did basically what we did with when I started at Atelier Munro, I said I don't want to see the collection on models anymore because it's not telling me anything. I want to.
Oh yeah, on people.
I want it on real people. I mean, models are real people as well. I want to have kind of an idea of what kind of person it is who is wearing it.
Yeah.
So we started working together with also with Simon Sbury, the sommelier, but with Mark Giordano here in Toronto, NHL player at the Maple Leafs, with Nick de Vries, the Formula One driver, with Bjarne Massenbroek, Dutch architect, with all these different people. Where we said, okay, basically curate your own wardrobe, curate your own style within the universe of Atelier Munro, within everything we can do. And we're going to show and tell your stories, tell really a way more personal story about yourself as well. So always do these deep dive interviews, deep dive articles, long reads. They're all on the website. And we'll always do a project together. And those projects, those are basically those side projects I'm running. I used to run, where one of those also came back. So when I was telling about our current obsessions, that kind of startup where I pulled the plug the night before, we were talking with a suitcase company by then in Sweden, over 200-year-old company, very similar to Globetrotter.
Oh yeah.
So I knew the creative director of Globetrotter before, and I said to him, I would love to do a collaboration with you guys with our current obsessions. And he basically said, we're a little bit over. They weren't yet where they're now, but they were on that direction. But he said there is this one super small company who's still making the suitcases in exactly the same way, exactly the same quality, exactly the same process in Sweden. I can't remember where it is. This is how it's called. And I started digging in that rabbit hole, found them. But so then that was 2014, I think. We unfortunately didn't work together. But now working with Nick de Vries, where it was all about traveling. He's constantly traveling, constantly on the road to all the races around the world. We said let's curate a collection that's more around travel, more versatile fabrics and fits, and create a separate project, make a beautiful handmade suitcase, especially for you, where it's also customizable with kind of travel stickers with his favorite tracks, his favorite racetracks. So I called back that company in Sweden.
Hey, remember me?
No. So that the person who owned it back then left. I couldn't find the new one again.
Oh man,
that hammering technique of keep on calling people, keep on mailing people. And at some point, I got in touch with the current owner, and he basically said, "Yeah, we're just relaunching the brand again because it was really on a low." They were producing, but they were producing, I think,
low quantities, limited,
super low quantities, and the quality wasn't there yet. And he said we're just basically at the stage that quality is back again, that we have the full production facility working again, and let's do it.
Nice.
So we created this beautiful suitcase which is lined with one of our fabrics in the inside, and I think all those projects are kind of they are not kind of, they are basically the side projects I used to do before.
Right. There you go. Sounds like you got it going and figured it out.
Yeah, but that's also the nice thing of Atelier Munro is that I can really put everything I've learned over the past 20 years in this company, and that's so the place we're sitting now. We just opened this Toronto store where again it all comes together in this way where you come in. It's all about slowing down. It's all about making people feel comfortable at this space. Let them learn about the process, about the products we make, about the fabrics. It's a lot about fabrics, a lot about storytelling, and then have that kind of apartment thing upstairs where we can do events, things where it's not about clothes, not about the product. It's only about slowing people down and let them enjoy kind of the stories that are in every garment, in every collaboration, in every collaboration, even with the client.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible, and huge congrats to you.
Thank you,
Joachim. It was a huge pleasure to chat with you today.
Thank you so much.
Before we wrap, is there anything that I missed, or that you're like, oh, I wanted to say this one thing, or we haven't done that yet, or because I feel like we got it. I mean, this is some great stuff.
Yeah, I think the last but not least, I think that so another something is still in the air.
Okay,
and
that's
it's
good.
It's still kind of scratching in the back of my mind. Right? We need to do something with it. We did. Sometimes we're publishing something, but it is. So it's another something was always this idea of sharing the things I see and I like, and that will never stop. And so there was another something for years. We started another something in 2007. So really, really, really early blog days.
Yeah.
At some point, I was at kind of this first wave of influencers flying into LA to see a new car that was launched. Where I thought, okay, I will never write about this. And I got so much stuff sent to me where I was always another something will never be a commercial thing. I will never write something that I'm not honestly believe in.
Yeah.
So I think that will stay, and that will be there always. That network where I said that I have this pin from, which is called Together, and that's something that is really dear to my heart. It's a network of creative people from around the world. We have a little bit the same as the Blamo Slack. So it's a Slack channel where we share nice things, share stories. Sometimes we cycle together if we're in the same town, and if there are cyclists, or if some of them there are cyclists or runners, and building a connection, building that community around more people, around a brand, or around anything. I think that's the most fantastic way we can communicate these days, and that's also what I extremely like about Blamo and about the network you're building around that with the Slack and with the podcast. And it's truly amazing to be part of that. Just a small part.
The pleasure's all mine. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, see ya.
You've been listening to Blamo. Our show is produced by Blamo Media. We're edited by Amar Lal, and our theme music, as always, by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. If you like what you heard, you know the drill. Share the pod with a friend, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, do all the deals and stuff you do when you like things. You can follow us on Instagram for all the hot content, and if you want to talk to us and give us your hot take, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at info@blamopod.com. If you want to hang with us and join the Blam fam, visit patreon.com/Blamo, where we have tons of exclusive episodes and our amazing Slack community. Oh, and did I mention we have exclusive shows now? From the Triple J Show to Blamo Presents Derek Guy, it's all in there. Get in there. All right, I'll see you next week.